5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate it. One of the most egregious abuses that we're discussing today is the abusive measures intended to provide additional safety protections to consumers, as we've discussed, commonly known as REMS, risk evaluation and mitigation strategies, and plans that the FDA requires companies to develop as a response to a particularly serious safety risk posed by the drug. At the front end of development, some companies are citing these REMS requirements as a reason not to provide product samples to generic drug developers for bioequivalence testing that supports their drug applications. And on the back end of development, some branded drug manufacturers are negotiating in bad faith with generic developers to enter into one single system REMS. So let me start, Mr. Davis, with you, if I could. Please describe for us the various safety measures in place to ensure that generic drugs come to market with the same level of safety as their branded counterparts. I know that's a broad question. Have in mind I have 5 minutes.
Yep, Congressman, thank you for the question. I'll try to be as brief as possible. I think the requirements are the same, right, that the generic manufacturers have to meet in terms of convincing the FDA from a pharmacovigilance perspective that we will adhere to the same standards and criteria as set forth for the originators. As part of that, when it comes to actually doing the reverse engineering, if you will, the FDA is actually required to look at the generic manufacturer, look at a company like Ms. Kennedy's, and actually certify that they have the confidence in their ability the same as the originator.
Great, thank you. Mr. Carrier, let me turn to you. You've been very helpful this morning. Do you have any concerns about the FDA issuing waivers of the single shared system REMS requirement?
So I have no concerns. The issue here is that the brand company will slow walk the process of a shared REMS. When the brand and the generic each have a REMS, the brand will say, sure, I'll get back to you, and then 3 years later it gets back to the generic. So eventually the FDA has to wade in. 13 times it's been asked to get in the middle of these. All 13 times it says, generic, you can go your own way because the brand has no interest in working with you. And so at the end of the day, the FDA is able to waive the shared REMS requirement, still 100% safe, absolutely no concerns there, but it would be a little better to have us not go through that whole song and dance and have the generic be able to enter the market a lot quicker with a completely safe REMS.
So the 19 times it was always the brand dragging their feet.
Yes, that's my sense, that the FDA was asked to get involved, and the generic has a REMS, it has FDA approval, and still it's not able to be worked out between the two.
Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you. And then, Ms. Kennedy, do you agree that legislation such as the CREATES Act is needed to address these kind of gaming tactics?
100%. We have watched over the last decade as many missed opportunities for generics to get to market and lower the price of health care have come and gone. Whatever we can do to help American taxpayers and patients is incumbent upon us to do that. This is America.
Do you have a sense of the cost of these types of delay tactics and gaming techniques on healthcare overall, the cost to consumers?
The costs are amazing. Imagine that we sell a product 50 million doses a month to people like Kaiser Permanente for 6.8 cents a dose. Now, we have to be lean and mean. We don't have the money to do expensive litigation. I am always a fourth or fifth to file, and I'm lowering the cost of health care and drug products. And I want to do it, and I want to do it with safety and efficacy.
And what is the impact on multiple filers when you say you're fourth or fifth into the market? Is there still an impact at that point on price?
Yes, the first filer typically lowers the cost 25%. That's great, but when I get to market, it's 80 to 85 to 90%. That's real savings.
And what's the impact on the quality of that?
There is no impact to quality because it's incumbent upon us to prove to the FDA that we are equal or better. And we have to file each and every lot with all complete C of A testing and sterility testing.
Well, I'll just close by saying it seems clear to me that there are some manufacturers using these REMS requirements as a way to keep competition off the market. And as we've all just heard, that's not the original intention of REMS, and I think we have bipartisan agreement to wade into this and make it a top priority. So thank you. I yield back.